Welcome to the special edition of the Center for Teaching and Learning Service Learning Tidbits. I'm Lisanette Rosario, Director of Career Services at Hostos Community College, and today we have
Elyse Zucker. I'm an Associate Professor of English, and I have been teaching a service learning expository writing class for years.
Professor Zucker. How did you learn about service learning?
I knew there was a service learning committee, and I learned about it from attending scholarly conferences where people would present on teaching service learning classes, and I thought it was a great idea to incorporate an experiential component into textual learning.
Why did you decide to incorporate service learning in your class? And what objectives were you planning to achieve?
I looked around one day out on the campus and I noticed we were in a food desert, and I figured the whole topic of food justice and agriculture versus agri-industry would lend itself really well to utilizing the community, both educating the local community for students and having experiences in the local community that would also tie in with what students would be taking. So I thought that a focus on agriculture would lend itself well to service learning.
Could you please share your service learning project and the community partner?
Community partners have varied. I've always used grassroots environmental education, where they have cooks and educational events, and they've helped me with the process of securing donations from places like Whole Foods when my students run a supermarket kitchen once or twice a semester, SOUPER. So the service learning project is where students initially learn, read a variety of essays about social justice, food justice, about food deserts, about learning the difference between agriculture, agri-industry, processed and natural food. And then what they do is they do community activities. They've gone into, varies from semester to semester. I've had them in groups where they write questions to interview local residents to see what they know about the difference between processed and whole foods, or agriculture versus agri-industry, or sustainable food. And then what we do is they do a research project based on the dearth that they discover the community has, to educate the community about the importance of being aware of agriculture and not being subject to just the kind of processed food that exists in food deserts such as the South Bronx. And my students have worked on farms, local farms, helping them. They run once a semester, as I said, a supermarket. We get donations. We sell to the public as well. We're open to the public as well as the Hostos community. And students will also answer questions and research the value of the soups they make, which are tied in with ethnicity, etc. So those are some of the projects we do.
What obstacles or challenges did you face when attempting to incorporate service learning in your class?
One obstacle was if we would take field trips out to Long Island to visit farms. Getting the funding was doable but difficult. Syncopating our schedule with the farm schedule when we would go to local farms, making sure there's a balance between academic outcomes as well as experiential learning in the classroom, so that the latter enhances the former, it doesn't take away from it.
And what techniques did you use in the course to get your students to reflect and share their reflections about their experience?
They kept a journal throughout the semester of everything that they experienced, and would relate it back to what they read, make connections between what they were studying, what was going on in the community around them. And then it culminated in a 4-page reflective piece that they wrote and shared. Also, they would share their project with the community. So they would let the community members whom they interviewed know about that they were going to research the project that had to do with the questions they were asking community members, and then they made themselves their projects available by email. We also passed out a brochure at the farmers market that students wrote by writing summaries of what they learned about food, and from all the articles we read and their experiences, and we compiled it into a brochure, passed it out at the supermarket.
And what anecdotal or quantifiable evidence did you gather to illustrate the effectiveness of service learning for the student and the community?
Many students discovered, as they made evident to me in emails, verbally, and in their reflective pieces, a love of serving the community. They had no idea they were interested in serving. They got great pleasure out of serving the community. They got pleasure out of sharing. They realized it was therapeutic, cathartic, wonderful to work in local community gardens, to get their hands in the soil, to understand that people in the local community are subject to processed food and the agri-industry, and they've gained an awareness. A lot of them have changed their eating, they've changed their children's eating. They write to me. I just got an email from a student from 5 years ago that the service learning class has changed his and his wife's and his child's life. They also love the connection between experiential learning and textual learning to expand the parameters of the classroom.
What benefits did students gain from this experience?
It really helped them make a powerful connection between what they're learning and how it exists in the community beyond them. Anything that became very important to them, as well as their growing awareness that they really enjoyed serving the community and connecting to the community. And anything that gets students interested in learning in an English class will also enhance their desire to write better. It's when you care about content that you learn how to write better. They really loved the hands-on aspect of learning, and how it enhanced what they read. Each enhanced the other. Service learning is a wonderful and valuable way for students to learn. It expands not only the parameters of the classroom, it expands the minds of the students. It's a multi-layered, interdisciplinary way of learning, and we do service to Hostos that way too, because it's a community college. We're supposed to serve the community, and doing so is a profound discovery that students realize that they enjoy engaging in.
Thank you, Professor Zucker.
Thank
And
you.
stay tuned for the next tidbit, Service Learning.